Hello, and welcome to the Parenting Roundabout podcast for the week of May 6th. I'm Terry Morrow, and I'm here with Catherine Haleko.
Hello.
For a weekly episode to talk about parenting in a roundabout way, along with a little pop culture. I saw on your Facebook page, Catherine, that your library that you work at is having a fundraiser that involves egg rolls.
A delicious fundraiser, yes.
And my question is, do they ship?
Maybe I could buy you some.
I saw that dang post, and then it's like, well, now I want egg rolls.
Right.
Where am I going to get egg rolls? I wasn't thinking about egg rolls before, but now I'm thinking about egg rolls. Who came up with the idea for an egg roll fundraiser? It's brilliant.
Yeah, I don't know.
As soon as you hear about it, you want, please take my money.
Right.
Give me egg rolls.
Give me egg rolls. Yes, it's a combination. Well, it's fundraising for the new library building, and it's also a celebration of Hmong American Day or Hmong Appreciation Day or Hmong Culture Day, whatever it was. We have a community of Hmong people here in Wisconsin and also Minnesota. So these are Hmong style egg rolls, which are delicious. And so they tied it together very cleverly, and we are going to get ourselves some egg rolls.
Nothing is going to taste good to me today. Maybe I need to call the Chinese food.
I was going to say, you could acquire, I bet they have egg rolls in New Jersey. They won't be these particular ones.
They won't be those, and they won't benefit anything, but they will be crunchy and hot and delicious. I want some now. I used to think at my kids' college, the dining hall used to have egg rolls, and they were pretty good. And so whenever they had them, I would be like, yes, please.
Right. Give me some.
But I don't have that outlet anymore. I don't go to the mall, so I can't even get the mall egg rolls. I need egg rolls in my life.
Yeah.
Next time we have Chinese, we're going to have egg rolls.
There you go. When it comes up on the rotation for your Saturday dinner.
I'll forego the wonton soup and get me some egg rolls. Creative fundraisers, I got to give a hat tip to. That's great because, it's not just the same old thing. It's something you might actually want.
Right.
And the other day at church, at the end of Mass, the priest announced that the kids at the school were going to be putting on Willy Wonka, and they were having a fundraiser that involved buying a chocolate bar. So it's like, on your way out of the church, go get you a chocolate bar. Yeah. He didn't say exactly that way, but that's what he meant.
Right.
And I thought, well, you know what? I like chocolate. So we picked up a few overpriced chocolate bars. And they had printed out like a Wonka wrapper for the candy bars. That, of course, if you slide it a little bit, you could see that it's just covering up a regular candy bar.
Right.
And they said, if there's a golden ticket, you get to come to the play for free. And I'm thinking, please let us not have one. I really want to go to the play. I just want the chocolate and to support the youth,
Exactly.
So we've been enjoying eating it. We've been, eating it slowly, savoring it. But I appreciate that's a good way. Instead of setting up a table to sell tickets, they're selling something that people want more than tickets to your school play, which is delicious chocolate.
Yeah, and it's just a clever tie-in, good thinking that
very
way.
Clever. And yay to whose ever mother thought that up and had a color printer and made those up and wrapped them around the candy bars.
That's right.
I appreciate when I see good parenting creativity.
Yes, we had a couple years ago when my son was in the show Puffs, the play Puffs, which is kind of a sort of a parody on Harry Potter from the perspective of the Hufflepuff house, which is a lesser house, let's say, at the school of witchcraft and wizardry. Anyway, in all the Harry Potter books, there are mentions of candy, certain kinds of candy. They have chocolate frogs and they have these special jelly beans and that kind of thing. So a couple of moms at my son's school, when they were putting on this play, actually made chocolate frogs, and they repackaged jelly beans, and they did all kinds of things. Oh, and the chocolate frogs come with wizard trading cards too. So they put pictures of the kids, as their characters inside the wrappers of these chocolate. Like they really They did a lot. And
God bless them.
they dressed up
ladies.
and, actually, I think one of the moms who spearheaded it recruited her sister to sell with her. And, they had a little cart and they dressed up and they pushed it around at intermission. It was adorable.
That is. And yet you think to yourself, how do they have that much time? Oh, my goodness. I can barely, get out of bed in the morning and they're doing all of this stuff.
Right.
I mean, good for them, but wow.
It was impressive.
Yeah. You wonder what happens to those moms when their kids graduate and move on.
Right.
They got a big hole in their schedule.
One of them is working at the middle school now. So, I mean, maybe she's, redirecting her efforts that way.
She's going to find some kid whose mom is uninvolved, who for some reason is motherless, and, be that person's
parent.
Embarrassing, over-involved adult.
Mm-hmm.
You go.
Every kid needs one of those.
Every kid needs one.
Yeah.
They do. I had one. My kids had one.
Yeah.
Filling a need.
Mm-hmm.
That's inspiring.
Yes.
Good for them. Oh, dear. I wonder if little Tom Ripley had an over-involved adult in his life. I kind of feel like not.
I don't think so.
I feel like if Tom had somebody getting in costume and selling Harry Potter things at his school play, he perhaps would not be the small-time sociopath he is right now.
Right. Correct. Yes.
Let this be a lesson to you, moms. This is what happens.
This is what you have to
Although
do.
I bet Dickie Greenleaf had an over-involved adult in his life, and he didn't look like he's turned out all that much better, so.
I don't know. I mean, from where I'm sitting, he's living in this amazing villa in Italy. He just hangs around and paints when he feels like it.
Even so, I think his mother is thinking, could I have done things differently?
Right. The only problem Dickie has, aside from Tom Ripley showing up in his life, is having to climb a lot lot of stairs all the time.
Oh my goodness. You can't install an elevator with all your money, Dickie. What the heck? I bet they have lifts in that part of Europe. Come on.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah.
That alone, I'm like, well, this place is pretty swell, but I gotta go.
I'm out. Yeah, so we
have a basement apartment I could have, Dickie.
We have turned our attention to Ripley on Netflix.
Yes.
Which is kind of a TV remake, a series of the movie The Talented Mr. Ripley, which in turn was based on a book, or maybe it was a short story, I don't know.
I believe it was a book by Patricia
Highsmith. So we have aged up the characters quite a bit.
Have we? Because I didn't see the movie.
Yeah, in the movie, they were like just out of college. And I think I heard someone say that Andrew Scott is like 40. So, yeah, they've changed that and obviously made it into a series. And they've shot it in black and white.
Yes, they have.
For maximum
and not
moodiness.
Just in black and white, but black and white. Look at how arty we are. Pigeons, birds, railings,
texture,
really disgusting soap dishes.
The textured walls, the
oh my gosh,
gnarly shower and walls at the.
The cinematography is being asked to do a lot of work. That and the score. Mm-hmm. Do you think this is an enjoyable trip to Europe? No. Listen. It's there's a lot going on there. They're working super hard to let you know. Moody. This is moody.
Yeah.
Do you feel moody? Oh, golly.
Extremely.
And I don't know. I don't know Andrew Scott. Every time I've seen him talked about, I've thought they were talking about Adam Scott for a minute, and then I realized it's not Adam Scott. And then
or Andrew Garfield. That's my other problem.
It's like, I don't know that guy. And he's such a. wouldn't say a cipher in this necessarily, because you know who that guy is,
Right.
but just not somebody I'm sure I want to hang around with for like 10 hours. But and I wish we had some backstory on him. Maybe we'll get some backstory on him,
Right.
because he's kind of our hero is not the right word, but he is our
POV
interest
character.
Yeah, exactly. And so you kind of find yourself hoping he gets away with whatever he's getting away with. But he's a loathsome little bug. So why exactly do we want to? If they just need a couple of scenes of like all the other moms putting the effort in for their Harry Potter day, and little Tom sitting off in a corner because his mom is not around, and all the rich people hate him. All the rich kids hate him. But we don't have that, at least yet. All we have is that he has an aunt who has dental problems.
Yeah.
So, which that was egregious. We did not need to see whatever that was. I am
the
here.
mid-century dental work going on.
I am here for the manual typewriters. Oh my gosh, I could just bathe in the manual typewriters in here. It's glorious. And, all the fountain pens and the just all the little neat old gadgets. But I did not need to see the dental work. No. The wall-mounted dial-up payphone, yes. Look at that thing. The whatever they were putting in her mouth, no. Hi.
And, that scene with the dental work, he's writing her a letter and basically saying, like, you can stop sending me your dumb little checks because, I don't need your money anymore. So that's meant to be some kind of backstory about,
I guess.
I
guess.
But it's more just like
to
he's
a character
horrible.
We never knew existed, having something terrible done to her.
Right.
While her nephew kisses her off, I guess.
Right.
But I guess that's a little something, but we don't know. I mean, he said that his parents died, but that could just be his story that he tells the dad.
Right.
And it's just, I feel a gap in the storytelling that they are trying to fill up with black and white.
Right.
And music.
Yeah.
Story. How about story? Can we ask them the story? Story. Hey, story.
I mean, I do think there's something, he has some kind of trauma or fear around water, right? Because
yes,
they've made that clear. and whether it's because of his
maybe
parents really did die.
He was wearing a ridiculous tiny bathing suit and he was afraid it would come off. We don't know. That's a valid fear, by the way.
Oh, it is. Absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, you can kind of guess. And, we just watched the first 2 episodes, so maybe it will come along.
Right.
But I'm not that patient a viewer. Yes.
Yeah, he's so awkward. He's so...
Yes.
Like, you think... At least I feel like I remembered from the movie, as a con man, he should be so smooth and confident,
yes.
Right? I mean,
I want him to be a more skillful sociopath.
Yes.
And I don't want to feel sorry for him when he's in over his head. I want to say, good, look, you deserve this. But instead, he's kind of flailing a lot of the time. This is not fun.
Saying stuff like, I like girls.
Oh, dude.
Super convincing, bud.
Yeah. And
you like girls? I like girls.
These are the things that just like involuntarily make you feel sorry for him when, in fact,
right,
he's kind of an awful guy.
He is.
Not even kind of.
Sure. Yes.
Just 100% an awful guy.
Right.
So, there's a lot we don't know about the emotional dynamics and all of this stuff that will probably develop. But already, the thing in this first couple of episodes that I most call BS on, and I think you will join me in this, Catherine, is Marge was not happy to get those edits. Don't act like she was happy to get those edits. She was not happy to get those edits.
Yeah, he didn't hold back either.
He did not.
Crossing out huge
as
chunks.
He's doing that, I'm going, she's not going to be happy about this. And she's like, oh, you're so helpful. And she seemed genuine, because sometimes she seems like she's just going to say something, but she's giving him the stink eye.
Right.
She seemed genuine, like, oh, thank you. Yes, you've made this so much better. No writer says that. Is this supposed to tell us that she's not really a writer?
At least not just some
a
rando
girl who's taking pictures. Yeah, nobody wants to get edits. Even people who are not real writers do not want to get edits. Stop that.
Especially people who are not real writers. Yeah. And also, like, he's like, oh, I worked at Random House, when he previously had said that he was an accountant. And nobody says anything about this.
Accountants, copy editors, they're kind of the same thing, right? Nobody knows what they
like, were you a copy ed? Were you an accountant at Random House? I don't think so. So, I mean...
Yeah, he's not doing real well with keeping the story straight, but...
Obviously, you know, Marge is suspicious of him, and the maid is suspicious of him. Like, you're going to have to work harder, friend.
The maid is going to meet with an accident at some point, too, I feel.
Yeah.
But... especially if he keeps going and doing stuff with the dang doors and windows open. If you're in this man's room, in a place that has staff, close the dang door.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, and then it wasn't
just get naked and put on this person's clothes with the door and the window wide open. What could possibly go wrong?
And then it wasn't the staff that caught him.
Yes,
it was actually Dickie.
I was surprised. I thought it was going to be that maid, and I thought she was going to be going out one of those windows. But, yeah, she sees a lot.
Yes.
And he should know that. He should be a smooth enough sociopath to know she's going to be trouble.
Yeah.
But he just seems to be like an amateur sociopath, and that's not as satisfying, because you want... I would prefer to hate him, I think, than to be like...
He's pathetic.
Well, he's pathetic, yeah. He seems more pathetic than sociopathic a lot of the time, and that's not... I don't know.
Right.
But I guess he's going to get better. Good with voices, good with accents, this dude, I guess, is what we're supposed to be picking up.
Right.
And that could come in handy. Also, did you notice that the E's on Dickie's typewriter are higher than the other letters?
I did notice that.
I'm sure that means. This is a plot. This is like a mystery plot that died with computers.
Yeah.
It's just like, it was such a rich and beautiful little detail that each manual typewriter is just a little bit off.
And it's not the same as, you know, we trace your IP address back to this machine. That's not so fun.
Yeah. But, just adore all the old typewriters.
Yeah.
I miss them. I mostly miss my electric typewriter from college, but the manual ones are pretty cool too.
Right.
The satisfaction of pushing on something that resists you. Carve those words out.
Fantastic.
Yeah. But don't you come at me with things crossed off. putting your little words in the margins. She immediately goes from that scene to plotting his demise.
Let's hope.
And it will be well deserved.
Oh, yes.
Tact, man, tact. This is why we try not to ever have to edit for anything that somebody that we like or love is involved with, because
right.
You either have to do a crappy job or you're going to be hated.
Right. This is true. And also the whole, like, she wouldn't show it to anybody, but, oh, I once worked at Random House. Okay, you can take it. Like, what?
And would Dickie not be really ticked at that?
Yeah, I would if I were.
That's like an intimate thing to let somebody see the thing that you're writing.
Yeah.
Oh, man. One thing I'm going to have to do is stop watching both of these in the morning that we record, just so they're fresh in my mind, because that's an awful lot of that.
Right.
That we have taken a turn from Reservation Dogs to, like, the waspiest plot.
Right. We sure have.
I mean, yeah. It's like, well, but enough of that. How are the rich white people doing? Let's check in.
And just hang on until Bridgerton in a few weeks. Right. We're going to have more.
Bridgerton at least has the colorblind casting thing going on.
Right.
We did get a little bit of diversity here, but mostly it's
another period piece with a lot of rich people. So that's coming.
Oh my gosh. That's another thing that makes you sympathize with Tom against your will is just the look on Andrew Scott's face every time, like, Dickie spends money. These people have it so effing easy.
Right.
It's just like a knife to his gut every time.
Although I did think, like, the dad saying, oh, well, we legally can't cut off his trust fund. Really? You need a better lawyer, that. I think.
That seems editorially convenient.
Yes, extremely.
Yes, there's this one obvious thing we can do, but we can't. Don't ask questions.
Right.
Mom and Dad there seemed like they wandered in from a sitcom. Just like the worried parents.
Yeah, and there was something about...
no texture there.
There was something about the performance, or maybe it was the way it was written, I don't know, but something about when he first met the dad, when Tom first met Dickie's dad in his shipping company, and just, I don't know, there was something about him that was so, like, earnest, and I don't know, for a guy who has, like, this, who's super rich and has this massive business, and you know, he seemed too, like, sweet and tender or something for that.
It was like from a different show.
Yeah.
These would be the parents. Yeah. So I don't know what that is, but they didn't seem like the kind of people you would want to run away to Italy to get away from, but.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. If Pop wants you to take an interest in his business, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were not subtle about, but is Dickie a good artist? Were they? Whoever the prop people were, I think they just had a little bit
They had a good time with that.
Tell your child to draw something. Draw a nude person and see how it looks.
Make sure there's some boobs on it. Ooh.
I feel a little sorry for Dickie, just that's the effort they went to show his art. Come on. You could do a little better than that and still be bad.
Right.
This is why you're hanging out in Italy. I think they need to like, I guess his parents were pretty aware that he's not an artist.
Right.
Oh, yeah. It just.
Do we think that Tom actually knew who Dickie was?
No.
But somehow the dad thought he did. Like,
maybe somebody else by that same. One of Dickie's friends mentioned him.
Yeah. But
now this person who came and knew Dickie and wants them to come someplace for Christmas knows Tom. So maybe there was some circle somewhere.
Right.
Or maybe Tom conned his grandma out of money from her bill that he stole from them. Wouldn't the mailman know that that's not who Dr. Katz is? I don't know.
Yeah.
That whole plot seemed unnecessarily complicated. His con. If you're going to do a con, that con was a lot of work.
I know. For like, you owe me $27.
$27. Couldn't you have just tried to cash? Couldn't you just? I mean, there's ways you could cash a check that is not made out to you. I would think that would be the easier grift. Right. But just steal somebody's mail and cash the checks.
Right.
But I guess it's not even that easy to do it when you've had them send you a check specifically and then you get spotted at the bank.
That's right.
It's kind of a plod, this thing. But
2 episodes in, you're like, oh, I don't know. Can you hang in there for one more week and then you'll get a little Bridgerton lightness too.
The beauty of the basic beauty of the black and white cinematography would be something to enjoy if it were not for the sudden angles of things. Look at that. Look at the wrinkles in this person's face.
Right.
Look at the dirt on the wall. Look at the bad cracked paint. Look. I got it. It's like the script is like 5 pages long. Then it's like cinematography. You got to tell the rest of the story.
Right.
And music. Go for it. Oh, well.
They are going for it.
I was going to watch the movie before this, but I decided I would watch this and then watch the movie after. So would you say, is it basically the same?
Well, no.
So far? No.
I mean, first of all, it's been a long time since I've seen the movie, but it's not in black and white, for one thing.
Well, yeah.
And the characters are younger, like I said. So, and I don't know if I feel like...
Was Dickie this dumb?
Yeah, I think Dickie is that dumb, but I think Tom might not be.
This guy is wearing your clothes and talking in your voice.
And then he's like, oh, forget it.
Let's forget it. Polizia?
Yeah. Red flag.
And he's basically talking in your voice, breaking up with your girlfriend. Mm-hmm. This is a time with phones, y'all. You're going to want to worry about that.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Well, and then the whole thing of like, oh, I met this mobster and I invited him up to your house.
What the heck was that?
Where anybody can just walk up those stairs, right? Like, there doesn't seem to be any, like, locking doors on this place.
Yes.
So.
And that guy's pretty much looking around and putting mental check marks on the things he's going to steal
like,
later.
Picasso sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, and what was that? Tom could not have thought that was a good idea.
Yeah, I don't understand what was he.
If he does, he's dumb, and we're not supposed to think he's dumb, are we?
Right.
Pathetic, maybe, but crafty in a my mommy didn't make chocolate frogs for me sort of way.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. That was.
So I'm trying to think, was there an agenda there? Was he doing something? Did he have something up his sleeve? It seemed like not.
Yeah, or just trying to unsettle Dickie in some way.
You're not getting enough money from the old man in America that you got to go in. I just.
Yeah.
It was weird. So maybe all these things will fall into place, and we're to think them weird. But it's like, Tom's really only interesting if he's good at his job.
Yeah.
And if not, we have to worry that he's going to... I don't want to worry about him. I want to look at him and go, ooh.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. And my impression was that Matt Damon was sort of, ooh. So...
that's what I was going to say about the movie. I feel like he was a little more, skilled.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, interesting. Interesting choice.
Mm-hmm.
Because they thought, you know what? We'll just keep things cryptic with him because we have all this black and white and music. People will they'll follow us along. It'll be fine.
Yep.
And we will, because we're going to watch this whole thing.
Right.
But, okay.
Because it's 8 episodes, 10 episodes?
Is it 8 episodes, 10 episodes? I don't know.
It is 8.
But after a couple of weeks, we get a little dangly bauble of Bridgerton to go along with.
That's right.
Which is sort of the absolute opposite of black and white.
Yes.
Like,
Technicolor.
Yes. And Taylor Swift songs played by cellos, so it'll be great.
Yep.
Well, let's see. This is something... Maybe it is also in black and white, or maybe there's color to it. You'll have to let us know about Catherine's Library Find of the Week.
Well, this week we return to the category of quirky nonfiction, which I know is a favorite of yours. Yes. And a book that just came out a couple weeks ago called Dogland, Passion, Glory, and Lots of Slobber at the Westminster Dog Show.
Aww.
So apparently, it actually isn't just the Westminster; it's the whole dog show system and circuit. And but he follows a particular dog who makes it to the Westminster.
Yes.
So lots of fun, and might I suggest pairing it with Best in Show, which is one of my favorite movies.
Does the book have that same sort of feel to it?
I don't know. This is just a library find based on title and cover.
I saw the cover go by and thought, I can mention that.
Right. And, well, I thought, woo, I'm interested in this.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
So.
Is this dog on the cover here the dog that's being followed, presumably? It's one of those weird breeds that looks like there's a lot of upkeep.
Actually, I don't think that is that. No, because that's an Afghan, and
Yes.
the show dog that he follows is a Samoyed, which is one of those big
So
white
the
fluffy
Samoyed,
guys.
who's the subject of the book, doesn't even get on the cover for some weird looking dog instead. He should talk to his agent.
I think it's
I think
more
he has
like
some bones to pick with Simon and Schuster marketing department. What? Come on. I'm working here. Why am I not on the cover?
yes.
Lots of slobber indeed.
But the dog, the Samoyed, it says he and his crew travel in a custom-built RV named after Betty White. This is the kind of detail that you're going to get from this book.
Yes. Running the round. Do people get sufficient money on these rounds to make this their life? Or is it just that they are, like Dickie Greenleaf, able to do whatever they want in their life because they can afford it and they don't have to worry about anything else?
I think they make their money in breeding,
Okay.
would be my guess.
Okay.
Which is not necessarily all that lucrative either. But
No.
so I think they probably have... I think it's one of those expensive hobbies, like, you know, figure skating or skiing or whatever. And there just happens to be dogs involved. And yeah, I think you need another source of income, I'm going to guess.
Well, still interesting.
Yeah. I thought it was your kind of...
the audiobook on this, except it looks like I'm going to want to look at pictures of the dogs. I don't need the slobber, but I do need to look at the dogs. I don't need the scratch sniff version or the one that comes with the little pouch of slobber, but probably more than audio.
Yeah.
Oh, dogs.
Well, you could be Googling. You'd have to second screen it.
That's true. Well, usually with the audiobooks, they say, we will download a PDF file full of the photos for you to look at, but then do you? No.
Yeah. But maybe in this case you would.
Maybe at the end, I sometimes go through and look at the pictures, but it's not the same as having it right there on the page as you're reading.
No, that's true. So there you go. That's your latest little nonfiction option by someone named Tommy Tomlinson. I wonder what his deal is. Oh, he has a podcast, just so you know.
Of course he does. Everybody who's anybody has a podcast.
And a Substack. Okay.
Yes. About dogs, one assumes.
I think it's called The Writing Shed, so I think it's more, it sounds like it might be more about writing. Maybe he can give Marge some advice on her book.
Marge does not want advice. Marge wants somebody to read it and say, oh, this is good. This is so good.
Perfect.
You're doing perfect. You got to just finish it. Oh my gosh. You're right on the money. All your self-doubts are wrong.
Yeah.
See, if Tom had done that, she would have been in his corner forever.
Right.
But now the suspicion still can grow.
Right. Like, because again,
wait a minute.
He's not good at his job.
Like this? What's the matter with him that he doesn't like this paragraph? I love this paragraph. See, he's not at the top of his game.
No. He surely is not.
All my years at Random House, I never read anything as good as this. I have no notes. You're a genius, a natural writer. Please, write more and let me see it just to enhance my life. This is what you want to do, man.
Yep.
Tip.
Well, it's almost like maybe he's really talented as an editor, and that's what he should be
Even
doing.
So, that is not what's called for.
No, it's not. But I'm saying, like, you know, instead of trying to be a con man and being dumb at it, like, he should pursue this career.
The lucrative work of editing and copy editing.
But I feel like in the 50s, I don't know, you might actually make a living that way. I don't know.
Might you? More than you can from the grift he was doing, certainly. But I don't know. He's just not a kind of guy who wants to be chained behind a desk.
I guess not.
Copy editor at Random House, you're probably not getting paid to go to Italy and sit in somebody's villa. Now, maybe if you're the top editor at Random House, but not if you're in the copy.
But I think that was also, at that time, definitely the province of the people who already had money anyway.
Correct.
So.
Yeah. He doesn't look like a guy who's like an English major from a reputable college that he could just like kind of slide right into a. Probably better off doing something that gets you into that place in Italy. Although again, I say, Dickie, elevator now.
Right. Oh my.
Hire a couple of Italians to pull on ropes to bring your guests up to the front top.
Right.
There are ways.
Yeah.
You're not that young. It's gonna get
right.
Those are a lot of stairs, buddy.
Yes.
Oh
well. Anyway, we keep returning to. We have a lot to say about Ripley.
This thing we didn't like so much. Let's bring it up again.
Well, speaking of bringing up things again, let's go on a spin through our archives and see what we were talking about 1 year ago, 2 years ago, and 8 years ago this week. Because we don't know when to quit. So a year ago, it was kids in public places and, talking about how people can complain about kids in airplanes and restaurants and all that. And places where kids have every right to be.
Yes.
And, the public library is one such place. And, a couple things have happened. I was shelving in, near the kids section, and there was a kid, just talking like a normal child, like not even screaming or anything. And its parent or caregiver just kept constantly shushing this child. And it was so annoying. I was like, oh my gosh, it is so much more annoying to hear you shush.
More annoying than
yes, let the kid talk. And it is, they're perfectly welcome to talk, It's the kids section of the library, and even the entire library is not a quiet place. Like,
right. Because
of where it is right now, there's no like study area or like reading room where it is meant to be quiet. The whole thing, there's no fabric anywhere. Like everything is hard surfaces. There is no way for it to be quiet. Yeah. So just stop. Like it was driving me crazy.
Yeah, that's the worst.
And then one of my coworkers had some patron complain to her, like, when did they turn the library into romper room? Because it was a kid's story time, so there were kids all over. And she's like, well, when we move to our new building, all the kids will be in their own separate floor. Like, you can be cranky upstairs while they are enjoying themselves downstairs. Like, come on, guys. Yeah.
It's really not that hard to ignore it.
It's not.
I remember being in a restaurant once, and this was my kids were older, so I wasn't worried about them being quiet. But near us was a table where there was a kid just crying like crazy, just, screaming and crying. And at first it was, annoying and bothersome, but I realized that I could focus on it and be mad, or I could just move on. Yeah. And then it was sort of a sound in the background. It wasn't necessary to just sit there and be furious.
Right.
It's like, I've been there. Sometimes the kid's just going to scream, and there's nothing the parents can do about it. So show them the grace of just not caring. It's the caring that makes you mad.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And it's always worse for the parent than it is for the bystander, I mean... When your own kid is crying, it's just the worst. So
'cause you have you have the concern for your kid, and then you have your distress at the child's upset, and then the knowledge that everybody else is looking at you like, why can't you shut that kid up?
Right.
So it's just, the thing to do is just take the kid out, but you can't always necessarily do that.
Right.
And you shouldn't have to, really.
Yeah.
But that's what I did. Usually. I don't think either of my kids were really into screaming, but they would just, once the food was done, they were ready to go.
Yeah.
Antsy. So my husband and I would take turns. Or if it took a long time to get the order also.
Mm-hmm.
They would be climbing up on the back of the, booth and looking at the family behind us.
Right.
So we did a lot of walks in the parking lot. But I don't think parents should have to do that. I try to be now super supportive of parents. Any place where I feel there might be a judgy person.
Yeah.
They make a little bit of noise at the restaurant, I turn and I smile. If they make a little noise at church, I smile at the mom. Even if she's not turning around, I just beam that to her.
Right. Just feel it.
You have supporters here. And sometimes I think people would say, oh, now I know you heard it and you noticed. Now it makes it worse. But it's no. This is a supportive place. Let me give you a hug from one mom who was there to another.
Right.
Because it's... things are pretty peaceful now when we go into public places.
Right.
But
it's a gesture of generosity.
It is.
From you to that other parent.
Exactly. Yeah, this was an episode we did in 2022 where we were talking about Walker Hayes' song, Craig, that was about an extraordinary gesture of generosity from one friend to another in a bad time. And we tried to think if we'd had anything. Everybody, we'll link to it. Go listen to it. It's a great song. But and then it spurned a book and lots of social media.
Yes.
But first it was a song, and a very nice song. It is. We were talking about gestures people had made to us, or if we had ever made any gestures. Have you had any grand gestures of generosity since we last talked about this, Catherine?
Well, I confessed that I didn't go back and listen specifically. So, but the one that I mentioned in there, that I know I mentioned in there, was wonderful. But then there was the second thing where my son's teacher, the director that worked on the shows, the high school musicals, really took an interest in him and was incredibly supportive for him, and it was huge. I mean, he was really struggling in high school, as we may have discussed here a time or two, and he just couldn't bring himself to audition for the one of the musicals, and in fact, the previous year he had auditioned and gotten a part, and then stopped going to the rehearsals, like just kind of, it was just really, and she did not, she was totally understanding about it, and this was like during COVID and everything was crazy. And she just accepted it, and she just knew how to reach out to him, and he took, that life ring that she was offering, and it was huge. Yeah. And she, he kind of on his own started to think about, like, actually I want to do this in college. But she also came to me and said, have you thought about that for him?
Wow.
And here are some schools to consider and that kind of thing. So
that's lovely when somebody takes that much interest.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that when he wins his Oscar or Tony, that he can mention her in his speech. Make sure he knows to do
that.
When the time comes.
Mention me.
Yes.
And
you
her.
first, of course. But if he mentions this teacher, everybody will talk about it. It'll be great.
Right.
So touching.
That's right. But what about his mother?
Well, of course, his mother. Yes.
Yes.
First and foremost, who drove him to all this stuff. I'm trying to think if there's been anything with my kids. One thing is that I've been trying to get more and more involved in our church. Since we I was super involved when the kids were young, and then I just wore myself out, and there was so much going on in other places that we just were sitting in the back pew for many, many years. And then I got annoyed that nobody knew us and nobody talked to us, and the priest couldn't pick us out of a lineup. And it's like, I feel like that should be the priest's job to know everybody, but I got to admit, I wasn't exactly saying, yo, you-hoo over here.
Right.
So slowly we've gotten back more and more involved, and, I've been doing the lecturing, and I've joined the Rosary Society, and then after a while, I brought my daughter into the Rosary Society. She's like the youngest by a couple of decades.
Right.
There she could drive me there and stuff, and there was dessert, so I figured she would enjoy it. But she really has enjoyed going, enjoyed the praying, and enjoyed meeting all the ladies. And some of them, two of them in particular, have just been so lovely to her. And whenever they see me, they tell me how wonderful my daughter is. And it's like, oh my gosh. And it's not something I hear all that often. As my kid was growing up, I would hear, she's so adorable. Here are all the problems that she has that she's never going to get over.
Right.
And just to have people just say unbidden how much they love her just makes me feel good. It's a very nice gesture of generosity, and so that's, most everybody there has been very welcoming and sweet to her. Mm-hmm. And then a couple just really go out of their way to say how much they enjoy her. So that's a small gesture of generosity, but feels large.
Yeah.
To the person receiving it.
Right. Absolutely.
So, think about who you could do that kind of gesture of generosity today, even if it's a little kid having a hard time and you decide not to give the mother a stink eye. That's a big, small gesture on your part, big gesture to the person. Or, if there's somebody that you have enjoyed meeting or getting to know, let them know it. Let their mother know it.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Not quite the same as giving them your car, but still.
That's what sparked this whole thing.
Have a beautiful villa in Italy and you want to invite some creepy guy you've never met to it. Go right ahead. He'll only bring his mafia friend over with him.
Just when he was like, oh, I live here now. Do you think Dickie was like, what, you do? I thought you were just visiting.
Yep. There's quite a number of flashing warning lights going on here. Dickie, did your parents not teach you to not trust? Oh, well.
No, when you're that rich, doesn't matter.
You have people to be mistrustful for you.
Exactly.
Which I guess maybe is the maid's job in this case.
Yeah. No kidding.
Oh, well. Speaking of, in 2016, we talked about if money was no object.
There we go.
As clearly it is not for several of the people in Ripley.
Nope.
And a huge object to others. But
that's right.
What would we do? One thing I'd do if money was no object is put in a dang elevator. But I don't really feel like what I would like to do is just go live in a villa in Italy and paint crappy pictures. That would not be it. But a nicer house, or to just fix the heck up out of the house I'm in. Mm-hmm. There's so many things. I mean, our house is not super old. It's maybe from the 60s, so I guess it's not super young either. But it's just, it needs things.
Right.
It needs a lot of things. And I feel like, do I want to put that much money into this house at this phase in my life? Probably I do not. Mm-hmm. Probably I'm just going to hope it doesn't fall apart until we're out of it. But if money was no object, heck, there's a lot I could do. It would make a big difference. Like one thing, getting the mice out of the kitchen is one thing I would do. I would, get the rodents out of the attic that I'm pretty sure are up there. Fix all the doors, fix all the windows. After we had just fixed up the basement for my daughter, do you guys have like window sales guys who come by and say, we're replacing the windows for somebody else in your neighborhood. How about your windows? And you say, oh, my windows are fine. And they go, no, you think so? Really? Look at this and look at that and look at this other thing. I'm like, oh, come on. Don't say that. Because I'm not going to replace my windows, but now I'll worry about those things.
Now I'll just be thinking about it. Great. Thanks a lot.
Yes, and the driveway paving guys and the wouldn't you like better internet guys. There's always guys. Guys come along, and there's a lot of time they're young. They're like college students or maybe just passed. Right. And it's the same as the Girl Scouts selling cookies and the kids selling tickets to their show. You're so proud of them for trying, and you want to support them. It's like, man, you're in college, you're right after, and you are out here going door to door as a salesperson. Way to hustle. I appreciate you. No. Go away. And they're obviously trained to keep people talking as long as possible because maybe they'll just give in finally just to let you go away. And it's like, I really, please, an enthusiastic young person who has some hustle, please don't make me slam the door in your face.
Right.
Please just go.
This is why I do not answer the door.
I know. Sometimes you see them work in the neighborhood and you go, okay, I'm not going to answer the doorbell.
Yeah, I see you coming. I'm hiding.
But at the same time, you go, guy.
Right.
Go. I appreciate you.
Just go somewhere else.
You're not layabouting somewhere in Italy. You're actually out there working for a living. You go. Yeah, you go to the next block, please.
Right.
But, I could throw them some money if money was no object. Sure, whatever it is you're selling, young person. I'll take it.
Right.
That would be nice. I mean, it's not like I'm living in a disgusting apartment with cracked paint on the walls. I have a pretty decent, but I still do think about money.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not to the point where I just give all the money in my pockets to a taxi driver to take somebody who's claiming she was robbed away. I'm still saying like, maybe just call the police, honey.
Right.
I can't just even imagine. I mean, you feel bad saying that because it's like, there's people for whom money is a huge object. And I'm not there. But at the same time, yeah, I'm not going to
You're not at the Dickie Greenleaf level either.
I've been looking at, we've talked about my little coffee table I have in my office now. And I got the cheapest possible Amazon electric kettle. And it works fine. And I have a kind of a cheap, pour over filter. And every now and then I think, maybe I'll get a nicer one. But you start looking at these things. It's like I saw a website that had a kettle that was like $186.
Mm-hmm.
And a pour over filter that's like $80. And it's like,
or then you could get an espresso machine for $1,500.
It's like I was thinking canisters. It would be nice to have canisters. I was looking at these canisters, like 2 for $80. Money is too much of an object to me to pay for those.
Right.
Wouldn't it be lovely to just go, oh, those are great. Those look good. Yeah, fine. Here's my credit card.
Yep.
I would just buy things without thinking about it if money were no object.
Yep.
It wouldn't have to be big. It could be small. It could be stupid. It could be, give me every streaming service. What do I care? And all these Substacks, I'll pay your $5 a month, sure. And you know what? I do want your Patreon. Yes, I enjoy your podcast. Here. Take my money for more.
Right.
It would just be stupid things like that. It would not be huge.
Mm-hmm. Mine would be more travel, which I know you don't.
No thanks.
Not interested.
I have done my traveling.
It would be like both the, I don't need to work.
Yeah.
I have the time to travel and then I have the funds to do it. So.
Yeah. No appeal whatsoever. Thank you. I'm noticing that when we talked about this the last time, Hamilton tickets was one of my if money was no objects.
Yeah.
And now I have Eras tickets would be the equal thing.
That's right.
Now. But it's like, I don't want to go to a stadium full of people anymore. I don't want to deal with the parking. I don't want to deal with the screaming people. It looks like it'd be a lot of fun. When I was 20, 25, I would have been there with bells on. I would have had the greatest time. It would have been amazing. I ain't that young anymore. I would just as soon watch it on Disney Plus. That's fine.
Right.
And same with Broadway at all, much less something like Hamilton that was such a hot ticket.
Mm-hmm. Can watch that on Disney Plus too.
I'll watch that on Disney Plus too, and I'll listen to the cast album of whatever Broadway show is hot at the moment and live vicariously through it. So that time of my life is past. Travel and tickets no longer of appeal to me.
No longer.
But I did that. Been there, done that.
Been there, done that. Exactly.
Spent the money. Enjoyed the heck out of it. Too old now.
Right.
But not too old to have a podcast.
Mm-mm.
Too old to have an interesting podcast anyway, but I still have a podcast. And that's it for the Parenting Roundabout Weekly Roundup. Next week, Oh boy! Yippee, Catherine! We'll watch
2 more episodes.
3 and 4. Summer Soul? That must be an Italian word. And La Dolce Vita. Also Italian. La Dolce Vita. Yes. Alrighty then. Will there be more editing? Will there be more fanciful editing for authors who are like, thank you for crossing that paragraph off that I worked on?
No, next he's going to teach Dickie how to paint.
I was thinking, does he know enough about art to know that Dickie's art is awful? Maybe you don't need to know much about art to know that, but because the direction to the prop people was, we want everybody to realize it's bad, right. Okay? You go.
Seemed quite clear.
That was a fun day in the prop department, I think. And you can find all our episodes on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can find recaps, links, and an opportunity to comment on our website at parentingroundabout.com. You can also talk to us on our Facebook page, on Instagram, or on Twitter, where you'll find us at Roundabout Chat. And please visit our Amazon shop at amazon.com/shop/mamitude, where you can find links to a lot of the things we've talked about over the years. We'll see you back here next Tuesday. Goodbye, Catherine.
Goodbye, Terry.
Goodbye, everybody.